Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. We are going to be doing a bread baking marathon today. I'm looking for the recipe because I always like to try to share my recipes with you guys so that you can just kind of follow along. I don't always get every ingredient in the video, so I like you to have a recipe that you can refer back to. We are going to start with a sourdough loaf. This is original sourdough. This is my starter here, and we're just getting that starter in, 100 grams of starter. And then we are going to preheat the oven because I have another loaf that's ready to go in the oven. So we're going to preheat that oven. Here I'm adding the flour to that original sourdough loaf, and I started adding 25 grams of oil to all of my sourdough loaves to help with the crust not being so hard, and let me tell you what, it works great. Okay, moving on. We are going to move to a sourdough discard honey wheat bread, sandwich bread. And this is a very good, softer version of sourdough. You use the discard, so it's not active starter. We do use yeast in this. So I'm just going to add some discard, some sourdough discard, and all discard is, you guys, is just unfed starter. So you're not going to have the natural live happy yeast in it to rise your bread. You're going to need to use regular yeast in order to rise your bread, but you still get the sour taste in these loaves. It's a little bit more mild, and there are more ingredients, things like butter, things like that. So here we added the flour, the water, and the discard, and it's in the Cuisinart, and we're just letting it get to a shaggy dough, and then we will let it rest and incorporate for 30 minutes. Moving on, Cheeky needs to be fed, so I'm going to go ahead. Cheeky is my sourdough starter, so I'm going to go ahead and weigh her out and add back her weight in water and flour. And so that will feed her well. Cover her after we get her in a mason jar, and I put a rubber band on there, and that rubber band tells me how much she's grown. It just kind of keeps an eye on the level of her and tells me how much she grows and recedes while she's in the fridge. We're going to go ahead and put her in the fridge and let her just be stored in there. And here I am bringing out my chocolate sourdough starter as well as my chocolate sourdough starter discard, and we are going to feed this chocolate sourdough starter. So this is, I'm still kind of playing with this recipe, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this sourdough starter in half. I'm going to put her in the bowl, and I'm going to cut her in half because she hasn't been fed in a month. And I'll discard half, and then I am going to add back the 15 grams of cocoa powder, the 15 grams of sugar, and then I believe I ended up adding back 30 grams of flour and 60 grams of water to this to feed this chocolate sourdough starter. Okay, the oven is preheated to the 500 degrees. So I lay down some parchment paper on the counter and take out this porter wheat sourdough loaf. This is a original sourdough recipe that has been modified to make it basically a wheat beer bread. And I'm just scoring it here to allow the steam to escape. And ideally we want the steam to escape out of the cracks that we make in the bread so that it doesn't make its own cracks. And you can be as simple or as fancy as you like in this process. Moving on, we are actually starving, and so I'm going to try to make a garden breakfast here. We're starting out with some sweet potatoes, and then I'm going to head out to the garden with you guys. But before we can do that, the alarm went off for our honey wheat discard loaf. So we're going to go ahead and add the other ingredients in now. I have already gone ahead and added in the sugar, the salt, the honey, and now the butter. And a little bit of yeast. And we'll let it go in the mixer for 6 minutes or until it's slapping the sides of the bowl. And while we are waiting for that, the timer went off for stretching and folding on our original sourdough loaf. So we get that done and cover it back up and put a clip on. Hey guys, welcome back to Ashley's Homestead Adventures. I know that we have a lot going on today. Whoa, just about tripped and killed myself. We're headed out to the garden. I've got a craving and I've got leeks out here in the garden to use. So I decided I wanted a sweet potato hash this morning out of things from my garden. So we have the sweet potatoes from the garden, and then I'm going to get the leeks. And then we have garlic from the garden and peppers that I chopped and froze in the fall going into this. And then of course eggs. So I'm just headed out really quick in between breads. I hope you guys are able to keep up with the breads. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. But it's welcome to a day off for me. And the kitchen remodel is almost done, so I'm trying to catch up on bread. So I hope you guys are enjoying a busy day with me. Okay. I just want, these guys are monsters. I don't know if I can even get them. I had to use 2 hands to get them out of the ground, but we got them. So let's get them cleaned up and take them inside. Cook breakfast with them. So for those of you who need verbal what we're doing, we've got a loaf of my honey wheat sourdough discard bread that is in the KitchenAid. That's what we're making in the KitchenAid. And then I've got an original loaf of sourdough bread that we're stretching and folding. We fed my sourdough starter, put her in the fridge we fed my chocolate sourdough starter and it's staying on the counter. And then we have a porter wheat sourdough bread in the oven that is dinging at me right now to take the lid off. Just do it this way. Just want to sneak. Little sneak peek.
So we're going to decrease the temperature of that to 475 and let it bake for, in this new oven, it's turning out to be about 16 minutes. I think I let this loaf go for 17 minutes. Onto the honey wheat, it has gotten to a point now to where we can cover it up. It was slapping the sides of the bowl, so we can cover it up and let it rest for 1 hour. Stretch and fold time on the original sourdough loaf. And for those of you who do not know, this is just building the gluten strands in our bread. This is making the structure of our sourdough loaf, creating air bubbles and creating the chewiness of a traditional sourdough loaf.
These are my little garlic pucks that I made earlier this year out of garlic on the farm in a Cuisinart with some olive oil. Let that garlic melt and get fragrant. Add some salt, some pepper, some red pepper flakes, and the Gospel all-purpose rub. Okay, my garlic is all broken up. Mixed in. Just made 4 wells in my pan. drop some water in my pan. Put the lid on, turn it off. There's our beautiful loaf out of the oven. Cancel that. Wet my fingers before I stretch and fold, and it helps the dough not stick to my hands. The clothespins are to tell me how many stretch and folds I've done so that I know what time to add on my timer. I do, first stretch and fold is 30 minutes, and then I do 3 15-minute increments, and then I do 2 30-minute increments for a total of 6 stretch and folds. There we go, breakfast is served. Well, as you can see, it was wonderful. It was everything that I had dreamed it to be when I thought it up in my brain. So, successful garden recipe. I love it when it plays out that way. Stretchy foldy. Oh, we're getting more of a shape to us now. I am going to do something different with this loaf of the honey wheat discard bread. I had a client requesting to make him small loaves, so I've got to go out and find my small loaf pans. I haven't seen them since I moved in 2022, so I'm gonna go see if I can find them. Success! I found them. Now I just have to wash them. Okay, my next task, isn't that funny? It's a new kitchen. You would think that I could close all my cupboard doors for you guys, and every single time I turn the video on, there's a cupboard door. Update though, we did go ahead and decide to hang the microwave. Now I know that I had told you guys that we weren't going to because of the distance in between the microwave and the stove, and we were also worried about my pot filler running into the microwave, but as you can see, we succeeded in doing it. Well, just noticed that. So we're gonna go ahead, this is a brand new microwave. We're gonna go ahead and use this thing till it blows up, and then we'll buy a newer one of the thinner version of microwaves. They make them that are like only from here to here. They're like half as tall, and that just gives you more space above your range. But for now, because that's brand new, we're gonna use it. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without is kind of our philosophy on that. So the next thing that I have to do is actually a kitchen chore, but we have all this trim, beautiful trim. And I saved cleaning off. Mr. Wonderful still kind of moving his stuff out, and I saved cleaning off the countertops, so there is some sawdust and things in certain places that I haven't cleaned yet. I'm gonna do that, but this trim needs a second coat of oil. This trim up here, all the way around, needs its first coat of oil, and this cedar needs its first coat of oil around the trim on the window. And I also need to take the stickers off the window, the new window. So that was my day off kitchen task of the day. So I am going to get that done and continue making bread, you know, throughout the process. Okay, pans are washed, and I'm just trying to decide how I'm gonna do this. I think we're working on the honey wheat sandwich loaf. It is ready to put in the pans and go for its second rise. I think I'm gonna divide it into 3. First I'm gonna flour my surface here. Maybe 3. I think I want to weigh them. 354. Okay, so they're all in the 300s, so I'm okay with that. I'm not at all here to make sourdough scary or complicated for anybody. I'm gonna grease these pans because I just washed them, and I've been cooking in cast iron since I moved here as far as baking this bread, and I just want to make double sure it doesn't stick. Because this customer has been extremely patient in waiting for his loaves of bread. So I am just going to make this into a cute little log. Try not to squish too many air bubbles out. Drop it into the loaf pan. Okay, now I'm gonna let these 3 sit and get happy. Let's see if I can put this over all 3 of them. And so is there room for it to expand? Oh yeah. So I'm gonna let that sit and get happy for an hour, or until I'm starting to see them rise above the edge of the bread pan. And then we'll bake them. Okay, last stretchy foldy on this one, I think. I'm sorry, we got 2 more. Okay, we are all done with the trim and getting the stickers and stuff off the window. Look at how much that cedar darkened up. That's just crazy. I love cedar wood. It is just one of the prettiest woods that I've ever seen Mr. Wonderful work with. And so yeah, that's all done. All the way around the kitchen is all done and on task, which I'm not positive what it's going to be yet. I think Mr. Wonderful might want to take a road trip, so I'm going to go out and check with him while I'm at a breaking point and see what his plans are. And probably sweep the house because, you know, 5 dogs. So let's stay. There we go. guys are looking happy. They're all above the rim. So get that preheated. Pro tip, put your mini loaf pans on a big cookie sheet. That way you don't have to worry about them getting wonky when you set them on the racks in the oven. I'm gonna temp check these guys and see how long it takes to do them. I don't know how long it will take. So I went 25 minutes and just checked them at 205 is what the internal temp was. So we need to be in between 190 and 209. So they're there. And there they are, all flipped out of the pans. They came out beautifully, so greasing them worked perfectly. They just plopped right out. And they're there next to their bigger brother, the porter wheat real sourdough loaf. And I hope my client's happy. They're adorable. I also just got done making a batch of laundry detergent. This is 4 cups of Arm & Hammer laundry booster, 4 cups of borax, and 4 cups of scent beads. Usually I would add naphtha bars to it, but I don't have the naphtha bars, so this is what we get for now. We did decide to go on a road trip and look for some hardwoods up in northern central Arkansas, up near Mountain Home. This is actually the Buffalo River. So we had a good drive. It was a beautiful, beautiful day for a drive. And I'm going to put the sourdough loaf here on the very end that we were stretching and folding after it's baked. I thank you guys for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one. Yours truly.